Cannoneers, the trait has been buffed many times, and until now, we never really knew how to play around 3, 4 or more Cannoneers. But right now in China, the Cannoneer Reroll comp is one of the best comp, and if we look at this website that actually shows all the best comps in China, we can see that the Cannoneer Reroll is the best comp right now. So let's dig into it. So the Cannoneer Reroll comp is all about Cannoneers, Guardian, and Trainer. And all these units, you want to play 2 cost units. So it means that you want to have a lot of 3-star 2 cost unit. It also means that you have to slow roll during your level 6. I'm going to talk a bit more later. So basically you want to have Braum and Tristana 3 stars. These are the most important units. On addition, you can add 3-star Jinx, which is important but not necessarily mandatory to have a good game. And finally, you can also have 3-star Thresh because it's another good Guardian to have. But if you don't have it, again, it's not mandatory. As usual, if you are interested to have this on your phone because you play your game, you don't want to check this video during your game, you can download Tactor for free and use this cheat sheet. Now let's talk about the early game. It's very easy. You really want to have Trainer as fast as you can so you can stack your Numsy as fast as you can, because Numsy will actually be a good tank but also a good damage dealer for your late game comp. So actually you want to have something like Time Cage, Hammerdinger, Tristana. The idea is if you have items, try to put a Warmog on Time Cage and Ginzo on Tristana. If you want, you can also not put anything at all and try to play a lost streak strategy. It means that you have to lose all the single fights during stage 2 in order to have priority on the carousel, in order to have a good lost streak, and also in order to generate more income than your opponent. So at stage 3-2, you will have to push level 6, no matter what kind of strategy you put in stage 2. Either win streak strategy or lost streak strategy, it doesn't matter, you have to be level 6 at stage 3-2. You will have also to roll. You have to roll until you find Braum 2, Thresh 2, Jinx 2, Tristana 2, Hammerdinger 2, and 1 Lulu. Okay? This is important because this is how you're going to stabilize your board. Without these, you're still going to lose a lot of fights in stage 3, and if you already lost a lot of health before, you're just going to die. So this is very important. Then after that, you try to reach 50 gold because you stabilize your board so you don't need to roll anymore. And at 50 gold, you're going to slow roll every single turn. So you mean you're going to roll like 2-3 times per turn, trying to find the units you want. And once you find Braum 3, Tristana 3, and like I said, not mandatory, but actually recommended Jinx 3 and Thresh 3, you can start to push level 7, add your 4th Cannoneer in order to enhance the damage of your Tristana, because actually 2 Cannoneers, it's only 125% every 5th attack. 4 Cannoneers is like almost 3 times that, okay? So that's why you have to remove Hammerdinger and you will put Corki and Senna. In case you actually don't have Thresh 3, you can also put Idas at level 8. Okay, let's talk about the augments. Obviously, everything that allows you to have one more Cannoneer is actually extremely good. The best of the best is Cannoneer Heart, not just because of the win rate, but actually it's because it allows you to have much more damage on your Tristana, and you're competing against a silver augment. So it means that everyone else has a silver augment, and your silver augment is actually much more valuable than their silver augment to them. Then you have Hotshot that allows to actually deal true damage when the Cannoneer's 5th attack proc, and actually a lot of damage because you will have to play a lot of Cannoneers. It's just like press the attack for Swift Shot, but here is for Cannoneers. Then we have Ricochet. This augment is actually bad, except for this comp. That's the only comp where you can actually play Ricochet, so I recommend you to pick it. And finally, you have Combat Training, which is also a bad augment for most situations, but since you play a reroll comp around Tristana, and she wants to have a lot of AD, because the more AD she has, the more the Cannoneer damage is high, so Combat Training is actually a really good augment for this comp. So if we look at the BIS, it means the best in slot is Ginzu, Giant Slayer, Quicksilver, but obviously you can actually tweak around it. If you don't have a Ginzu, you can always try to have RFC, which is less good obviously, but better than nothing. And then after, for the damage, you have Giant Slayer or Deathblade. Deathblade is actually a really good item as well, so both items are actually extremely strong because Deathblade adds a lot of damage for Cannoneers. If you remember, Cannoneers has a multiplier of the AD, but Tristana also has AD multiplier, so more AD, more multiply, right? So that's why these two are really good. And finally, if you can't have any of these two, you can have Infinity Edge, which is fine, but not as good as these two. And then for the third item, you can decide to actually go very high in damage with adding another damage item, or you can try to get something more utility or more defense. So for defense, you have Quicksilver, of course, to avoid big CC in the late game, which happens a lot. Or you can have Edge on Knight if you face a lot of assassins, because this is one of the best items to counter the assassins. Otherwise, you can go also with Bloodthirster if you face assassins or a lot of splash damage, things like Orion. So this can deal a lot of damage, and having sustain can be a good counter to it. And finally, if you want to go with sustain and utility at the same time, you can go with Gunblade, because Tristana will help your Braum to stay alive, and that's not that bad actually. Okay, let's say like you really like to play reroll comps and you really like to play around Astro. So in that case, you might want to play various Swift Shot. And if you don't know exactly how to play, I already made a guide that's displayed right here. Until then, see you at the top of the ladder.